ya Mungu na zingine ni normal. Unajua anasema a day to God is 1,000 years. So if God says you're going to suffer for a day, you're going to suffer for 1,000 years. Anyway.
You know the Bible says that the Lord quickens my feet. So that means today you may be at the back, but he's gonna quicken you, and in no time you are in front. So it doesn't matter where you are. That's my principle for living.
Hallelujah.
It doesn't matter whether I have homa leo. Bado nitachapa kazi. Yes.
Ya maana nilikwambia usijaribu kulala. Naambia bibi jamaa kaleta shida mwagie maji baridi.
Hapo uliniweza baba.
Daktari Juang, the one and only man who killed the dead lion.
Good morning.
VP.
He might be suffering from what the modern man call presentism. That they are always present. Unapata mtu amefanya for 4 years, hajachukua sick leave, hajachukua vacation, and that has now, according to the DSMV manual, is being diagnosed as a form of disability, presentism. Always present.
Never missing.
Yeah, but thank you for the verse. Very apt, especially given the time we are in. I was thinking of Romans 2:14 briefly, which says, "Indeed, when Gentiles who do not have the law do by nature things required by law, they are a law for themselves, even though they do not have the law." That is Romans 2:14. So Paul is amazed that the Gentiles who are not given the Decalogue or the 10 Commandments still did the right thing. That's Romans 2:14. Indeed, even Gentiles who do not have God's written law show that they know his law when they instinctively obey it, even without having heard it. So how about us who have the written constitution? If Gentiles who didn't even have laws did the right thing, we have no excuse with our written constitution to follow it, as Romans 2:14 is saying, even Gentiles who had no law did the right thing. We know the right thing. The right thing is instinctively. You know, there is a scripture saying, you will hear a voice on the back of your head saying, this is the road, or this is the path, follow ye it. We all know the right thing. You know, there is the Greek mythology, where in Greek, you know, if you did history, that's where they had the Olympics. And in the Olympics, you know, Athens, or wherever, all those cities will sit based on different area of the stadium. And they had one custom which is common, and I like. When an older person come, you give him your seat. So one time when these people came in the stadium, this old man showed up in the stadium. He went through the corner by Athens and all this. They all knew the custom that when all seats are taken.
All right, so John, how's your weekend?
How was my weekend? Yeah, we were supposed to have a weekend, wasn't it? You know, with COVID, where there is no compartmentalization. Apart from, I went to church on Saturday for the first time. Yeah, I did. But generally, you know, your days run over each other. There is nothing distinctive between Monday and Sunday, for example. When we were going to work 5 days, things were so ordered and clear. Now it is weekend. Now it is Sunday. You go wash the car. You go do this. Now it is mambo
it's jumbled up.
It's jumbled up, and therefore, in fact, so when you tell me it is Monday, it is Friday, it is whatever,
you don't
like,
relate.
big deal. What is the difference? But be as it may, Monday is a day in calendar. I respect it. And I'm glad to be back at work. Whatever that means.
Hai, daktari, wewe unakuwa na maneno. Sasa helicopter ya nani bwana? Helicopter ya governor tunaye. Ikakataa kuinuka. Sasa nilisikia kwamba hiyo, because I was reading it actually on Twitter, and so some guys were giving an analysis of the aircraft itself. And they are saying that to carry, according to the weight it's supposed to lift, ilikuwa inafaa wabebe governor Tunai peke yake. he has the next the enough LBs to be on that flight. What was happening actually? Because I see that flight could not take off. Lakini majamaa walikuwa wanalazimika kama ile kusema atuende bwana, tuende peleka hii kitu. Hii Kenya hii ni upuzi gani inaendelanga?
I think, okay, I'm not an authority in that field. But if you look at the video,
by the way, on matters of authority, someone I saw alisema mimi sijui sana imani, lakini naona kama huyo jamaa alikanyaga mafuta ya clutch at the same time.
It's good to give a disclaimer, but if you look at that video, as the helicopter is trying to lift off for the first time, there is some electric shots at the tail that you can see from that video. So I guess from that point, as a pilot who has been trained and who has been in the business for a very long time, I was expecting the moment that copter started to have those issues of not lifting up, he should have put it down and first of all looked at exactly what is the problem. Mazee, helicopter si kama gari daktari, unasukuma, hapana, haikuwa na kick tusukume, unaona vile unasukuma gari mpaka inaguruma. Helicopter is not like that. How would you even dare try and lift up that helicopter with those mishaps that were seen from the word go? I think for me, anyway, ni kama tu Tunai alikuwa amelent helicopter tu imemaliza. Umeona, have you seen a photo trending on Twitter of the same helicopter, the same numbering ikiwekwa mafuta ya
ilikuwa inaongezewa
gede na mzungu. So Tunai, coming from one of the counties that's correcting way too much revenue, I thought he should have done better. I don't know, but even looking at the reason why he was at El Damat, people who are present there and the media who are present there, they say he did not even deliver anything constructive. In fact, a friend of mine who is in the media who was there, he actually went to fuel and put even more fire to the issue that took him to El Damat. I think probably it was a sign that because I want you to imagine, Bitok, had that helicopter gone a little bit higher up, we'll be talking about another story. We will be talking about Narok getting a new governor. So I think for me, Tunai bana, siku ingine ukitafuta helicopter bana, tafuta helicopter inaweza beba watu. Unakuja na helicopter ya kubeba mtu mmoja alafu unajaza watu kwa helicopter bwana. Alafu hata ukiangalia kwa cheap. Yes.
Nasikia mezeka ni zile huko ngambo zimekataliwa. Unajua Ojwang alikuwa huko ngambo. Maybe once at a point labda alianza kuendesha chopa. Tuambie mambo hii helicopter ni nini, daktari?
No, you know, it's interesting because like in the US, people who do helicopter, you'll find high school flying class. So you find that in high school, there's a program. It's like a club. You get to debate. There are students who get into a club to learn how to fly, and they can fly these small helicopters young as high school. Yeah, it's not such, here it's a symbol of status. Over there it is something for the amusement parks, and very common. Actually, because people can even build it. Once you have an engine, you can build your own helicopter. So it's not so much prestigious. But you see, as Mushendo have said, we will have been celebrating a funeral. So I thank God that they had not gone far from the ground.
So we celebrate funerals. We celebrate or we mourn?
We will have... it depends with the culture.
Where you come from.
Yeah. But, I remember one time I was flying and I sat on that, you remember the emergency window? And I'm given instruction that, and they say it in a very calm voice. In case of an emergency, we will ask you to open the window. This is how you open. And this is a beautiful lady saying it calm like it's a very romantic thing. And I asked her, is that when it has landed or on the air? Because now, and everybody laughed, but it really struck me what she was saying. You are telling me you are telling me to open the window in the middle of there. We are not on the road. And she's saying it in case of emergency. You turn the knob on the right and you open. Are you willing to take on those things? I said I'm willing, but are you asking me to open this thing while we are on the air? So I mean, we take things for granted, but it's a big deal.
Anyway.
I think once we get back to the normal business, he should be on Churchill, you know.
Yes, guys, actually, he should open a show for him.
Yeah, we should
I can't find a comedy on a Saturday morning. Anyway, guys. All right, the events of the week. Is there anything that happened over the weekend that you'd want to pick on? I
have a reservation on Saturday. The leadership of the entire assembly, National Assembly and the Senate at State House. And I can see Karanja Kibicho from the photos that I've seen. I can see Karanja Kibicho and directing him. He was hosting the chairmen of the various select committee, the House. They were talking about the business of Jubilee in the House, and that particular meeting, and we are talking about revamping the agenda 4, the 4 agendas of the Jubilee government, and I think a chicken business with the Assembly and the Senate. Why would he meet the House leadership to deliberate on the House, incorporating even the Deputy President on that particular route? We are talking about, in the last 2 months, we have had a number of petitions and a number of bills coming to the House that touch on the common mwananchi. Some of these bills require, especially some of the bills that are going to be brought to the House by the Labor and Social Services. They would require a bipartisan president leadership. Apparently, some of the ODM members were present in State House on that particular day, and they are talking about the agenda of the government. Are we witnessing the president telling us that he has now shunned his deputy away from running of government? So that interests me. That actually interests me because I'm expecting that the presidency should be on the read, showing us unity, and the presidency includes the deputy president and the president. Are they showing us that they cannot work together? Are they showing us that there is no longer no unity in government? Because it's like we are running 2 parallel government. The deputy president is on the road saying what Jubilee has set aside to do which project. On the other side, the president is in State House meeting the House leadership apparently to fast track the agendas of the Jubilee government in the House. So that actually, the political intrigues within the ruling party intrigues me this weekend. Look at the what do you call it? The retreat, the Walin. How does such a breach of protocol happen and nobody talks about it? Because the deputy president of the republic is the next biggest, senior most government official. He's supposed to receive the president, but we see the super CS, Fred Matiang'i, receiving the president at Manyani. So I think for me, I find the ruling party Jubilee, which unfortunately I campaigned for, very wanting, very suspicious, and very confused. So that weekend, I think for me what stands out is the confusion in Jubilee and the breakdown of Jubilee into 2 functions. We have a function that purports to be government, and we have another one that has been labeled as opposition within government. So I think for me, we continue to see signs, as Ojwang is saying. Very soon we may be celebrating the death of Jubilee. Very soon, very soon, we may be celebrating the... Actually, I'm not convinced that Jubilee will form any other government. I don't think so. I don't believe they will form another government. Because what is Jubilee to start with? Jubilee was a culmination of actually winding up a number of parties. The main players being TNA and the, what do you call the other one, URP. But basically, I think for me, the nonsense that is Jubilee, the ruling party, stands out as the event for me for the weekend. I'm also expecting the same to play out in Kisii tomorrow when we have the celebration, because I'm expecting the president will fly to Kisii and fly back to Nairobi. Alternative, on the other hand, I'm expecting the DP will fly back and drive back to Nairobi. So we are still expecting, yeah. Yeah, but I'm very 100% that the deputy president will not use the air coming back. He will probably do some stopovers here and there. And we continue seeing a very broken Jubilee. And those people who keep on saying Jubilee, is it hashtag the president delivers? I mean, surely, as Governor Kabogo recently put it, why would a hungry man want to know where the SGR is going? why would you want to know? Why would you want to know that gauge railway is being built from Nairobi to Nanyuki, or from Nanyuki to Nyahururu, or from Nyahururu to Nakuru, when you don't have something to eat? So I think for me, we need to address the issues of the common Wanjiku, provide an enabling environment for them to make their head meet. Then we can tell them about the mega project, we can tell them about BBI and all those things.
And every other thing that follows.
Yes, but the priority is the welfare and the well-being of that common Wanjiku who is struggling to put meals on the table. I think for me that should be the most important thing, whether it is Uhuru or Ruto. Because let me tell you, and I start here without fear of contradiction, if Jubilee is going to crumble and it's going to come down, we'll have two people to blame. The president and the deputy president. They are the party and the deputy party leader of that party. And I think they sat down, they came up with a roadmap on how to form Jubilee and formulate the policies that are going to govern this country from 2017 to 2022. So if there is a failure, or if there is a deviation from the agendas they told us during the campaign trail, then they squarely take the blame, because they have allowed the issues of 2022, which is not even here with us, to dominate the government of the day. You hear people sitting in Pangani saying that their candidate is Raila Amolo Odinga. You see members of parliament who have been beneficiaries of contracts, and they are supposed to look and put the government on check. They are now singing the songs for the government. I mean, the opposition, the National Assembly, is in bed with the executive, enjoying multiple orgasms of mutilating the issues of Wanjiku, of raping issues that are going to help Wanjiku. So I think for me, we continue to see, and I think one of these fine days, Hollywood should pick up the Jubilee story and do a movie. Political movie on the same.
That's why a movie anyway, ambayo inaitwa what's the name again of that movie anyway? I think I'll tell you about it. Dr. Any events of the weekend you want to pick with? Even as you speak, your friends in Migori, ODM, are said we want to make peace with Governor Obado. And you told us Obado in Migori is a government in his own. You know?
Right. A friend of mine, actually, Professor Lumumba, gave me a line in Charles Dickens' book called A Tale of Two Cities that describe this time in Kenya. And it says it was the age of wisdom, but it was also the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, and it was the season of darkness. I mean, you can see that we are not on the same boat. Kenyans are not on the same boat. As he has said, even the Jubilee leaders we are in two different boats, with one boat leading us quickly to disaster. And when you look at what Kenyans are overwhelmed with, a lot of all these things going on, I was able to look at what Matea Sen says about poverty. That is not just a lack of money, it is not having the capability to realize one full potential as a human being. And I look at what has been going on. Remember, there is another group of counter-elders. Elders have also come with their own tackle. There was another group that was saying, I object to your eldership. We had a funny lawyer who, when I said objection, his student said, I object to your objection. And I thought that was interesting. So you saw the other group, none other than from Kenyatta's family, saying the word Elder Bonoko.
but I will also want to say this. Number one, he said very important things. I'll tell you about the elders of our community. One, the elders of our communities do not line up for food. They don't line up for food.
They sit and wait.
They sit and wait. If they are going to perform an official function that is supposed to be formed by the elders, they sit down. They don't eat those mavi, nini, izo mashakura, and those carrots we saw and cabbages.
Understand, they're actually bread and soda.
Yes, and bread and soda. Serious elders wanakula nyama. Na hawakuli nyama tu hohehahe. Wanakula nyama ambayo specifically is meant for the elders.
Nyama hohehahe ni gani?
Unajua kuna nyama zingine wewe acha nikwambie. Basically, we also saw quite a number of young people purporting to be elders of the Kikuyu culture. We saw the CAS for education, the young man who was recently awarded by the president with a job. We saw him, and there was surrounding. Number two, we saw Kikuyu elders riding down as the Naitangwa Kanguka Jaramogi and bowing to that particular makeshift of a rayon. I don't know, was it a rayon or something? The Kikuyu culture does not work that way. We have Kikuyu Council of Elders. And I will say this because it is not even about just Raila Odinga. I oppose to the elders who went to Sugoi last year. Because what was happening in Kanguka Jaramogi happened in Sugoi last year. I opposed. Cultures are not supposed to be tools of business, regardless of whichever culture you come from. Cultures are supposed to be something we enjoy as people from the Kikuyu land. I come to the Daktari's home. I enjoy seeing how they do their culture. Culture is not supposed to be traded as a political tool. So those who went to actually initiate the deputy president as a Kikuyu elder, those who went to initiate... in fact, I have a problem with the same elders who went to Kanguka Jaramogi. On that particular day that they were at Siaya, is it Siaya? It's Siaya, I want to presume so. That particular day, it was it, which date?
The other week, when they were going to...
Yes, the other week. That particular day.
Saturday, right?
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes, that particular time, 2017, the same elders who read that particular function.
So you have marked them, Mushon?
Yes, I have marked. Kwanza, the elder who was reading there is a
the one who had shaved the box.
He's a businessman. He's a businessman. They treated us to a mockery. How did, during the burial of the president, the former president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, you remember ile lungu yake ilikuwa inapitishwa? How did Kikuyu elders end up giving out that rungu to Gideon Moi? Don't we have courage in elders and Baringo elders? Or you don't know, the guy who handed over that rungu to what do you call Lemward Moi, so that Lemward Moi can hand it over to Gideon Moi, is an elder from home, Kameredo in Limuru. He is a businessman. He walks around with he walks around with
Daktari unajoma.
No, it is true. That guy walks around with two things. A knife, na ile inaitwa rohea, that horn. kazi yake tu ni kutafuta pahali kuna mbuzi na kuna ile pombe ya nini, ile pombe. So I was telling you, the same guy on 2017 on that very day, they converged at a place called Mukuru wa Nyagathanga. That is in central Kenya. And they conversed to cast the MD and the owner of the Royal Media Services for supporting Raila Odinga. I remember vividly. They were cursing him and they crashed some carabash because he was supporting Raila Odinga. Now, before you go to cleanse Raila Odinga and make him a Kikuyu elder, why don't you first of all undo the curse that you did on SK Macharia simply because he was supporting Raila Odinga? It is idiocy of the highest order. These elders are disgrace to the Kikuyu Cultural Association, to Gema community. They are a serious disgrace. Those who went to Siaya, those who went to Sigoi, culture is not supposed to be a trade tool. It is supposed to be something we enjoy. It's supposed to be something we are proud about. So I am very disappointed as a Kikuyu person to see our elders, and unfortunately there was also a fight after the function, because apparently they were supposed to be given each 1,500. They ended up being given 500. So maze, our ni my elders Bonoko. That guy CAS education. Ata bibi hana. You cannot be made a Kikuyu elder.
Chunga bwana. Chunga anaanza kukazi.
Haina shida. I am older than him. In Kikuyu culture mtoto hajawahi kasi mtu mkubwa kumuriko. But you see, in Kikuyu culture, before you are inducted to the Council of Elders, lazima ukue na bibi, na sio bibi tu, umepeleka mahali. Si kabuiste. Wazee ukue na wazee wanasema huyo kijana alipeleka mahali kwa baba ya msichana, sasa hii ni bibi yake. Then you go through the process. Babako anakutolea mbuzi, alafu sasa unatoa mbuzi za kuwa mzee. This guy, we have no recollection of him ever being initiated into the eldership. But that idiot is the one that was representing the purported Kikuyu Council of Elders. And a member of Kenyatta family has come up, captain. The good captain, to denounce this Bonoko Wazes.
So hii maneno yuko na consultation hata na Mudozi.
Kuna kitu
kama ndugu ya Mudozi anaruka. Unajua?
Wacha nituulize na daktari hapa. The country, the president, the previous 2 days had declared a national prayer day. On the very day those elders were supposed to go and make Raila Odinga a Kikuyu Council of Elder person. Kwani wewe ya Guambo utaki maombi bana? Ilikuwa national prayer day. Tungekuwa tukiomba, si kupeleka watu Bonoko. They are now making you look like, because let me tell you, I felt it because if you ask me, some of the most influential figures in our politics of today, one of them is Raila Odinga. He's one of Raila Odinga. I would put Raila Odinga and William Ruto at par. They are the currently most popular politicians in this country. Ata uhuru yake iliisha anyway. Once you are elected for a second time, nyota yako sasa inaanzanga kwenda. So I felt when such elders take the great man in the name of Raila Odinga for a ride, and they purport talk, because let me tell you, the next event that is gonna happen, and you had the captain, the good captain Ariud, it is gonna be inaitwa banishment. Those elders wote watatolewa kwa Council of Elders.
So kumbe wako ndani tayari.
Kuisha hiyo bure kabisa.
Ojua. Tuambie mambo yenu. Mambo ya Migori. ODM Bati amesema we don't have to fight. We can agree and politically romance.
ADR. Yeah, but you know.
Ama ulisema bado alikuwa amesema mali mefika rafanya abiro. Abogoi.
Yeah. It was a suicidal note. You know, you can't poke a bear with a spoon and think you can because once you have poked a bear, the bear is now angry, and you don't have enough power to fight a bear. It's obvious that every time Obado have a duel with the ODM, he has come out at the top. So I don't know, as fate will have it, again, the thought of trying and checking whether he's solid came upon one Mr. Mbadi. But boy, did it backfire. Because it obviously backfired. It's like those primary fights that you start and then you realize this has backfired.
Ya kufungiana shule.
And you now work on ADR. You know, they first started ground failure by saying, we ningekupiga kama sio Buru. Buru ameniambia nikuache. Na kwa vile na mheshimu nimekuacha. Because the newspaper was saying it's Buru and Aida, Miss Raila, that actually intervened. But I think Obad also allowed them to have a soft landing. You know, ushachapa mtu. So when they come with an excuse why they have left you for another day, you also let them be. And so he was gracious enough to give them a soft landing and say, you know, let us work together. Because I remember the last time I saw him where he was saying, you know, we have, when you have a stubborn asthma, we have the medicine which is put on a pot and you are covered with heavy blankets and it remove all the inside. Very important therapy. It's actually hydrotherapy. And he was saying, you know, there are those people who we will take through that process in Migori. And they realize that they have to count their losses. He's here. He's distracting from BBI. You need him. After all, he has his base. And so looks like he has been let to go one more time, yes.